Let me put it to you this way. It's only August, but 2016 is already a bad year for video games in North America. I say this because there is a lot of recent news about how Square Enix is doing extremely questionable things with Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. I know that Rabbit Luigi said that 2015 is the year where game developers and publishers try to get away with questionable things and failing, but it seems that in 2016, no one has learned their lesson from last year. I'm going to talk about all the video game disasters up to this point, though because I'm going to tread on the same water I did in my Tokyo Mirage Sessions rant, and because I haven't played much or any of the games in question, I'm not going to go too deep into each case. Without further ado, Section 1. Nintendo does, Nintendo don't. First, you have Fire Emblem Fates, a game so bad it is the only game to date that I asked for a refund. I never did that with Mass Effect 3, and I despise BioWare for that travesty. Between the Japanese and North American releases, word came out saying that there are to be changes made between the two versions. All of it has to do with censorship with the story and characters due to Treehouse being full of Puritans who think that outdated cartoon references are funny, that the gay storylines in the Japanese versions are outright homophobic even though there is a great deal of nuance they chose to ignore, and that because they don't like the idea of nerds touching their waifus, they chose to get rid of a whole minigame even if that means people lose out on touching their husbandos. When people played the game itself, they also find that for some nonsensical reason, the North American releases have extra restrictions when it comes to online play. The worst part is, all the other releases are based on the North American release. Then, you have Bravely Second, which had censorship and cut storylines, which was excused with a press release that only told half the whole truth. Nintendo, there is a term for what you did there. It's called lying by omission! And finally, you have Fire Emblem in Tokyo. I've done an entire rant about it, but I'm still ticked off with the fact that the game still exists and that the North American product is different from that of Japan's. Atlas, I know Nintendo had supreme power over you, but censoring yourselves like that tarnished your reputation to me. So much so that I now have to wonder if the sequel to SMT4 is going to be any good, or even if pre-ordering Persona 5 was still a good idea in the first place. I'm sure that sticking to your guns will result in the cancellation of the North American release, but given how much of a kawaii mess Fire Emblem in Tokyo is, I'd have been perfectly fine with a cancellation. Then again, when Nintendo announced the game, they did show some skin. And speaking of which, Nintendo! What the hell is going on with you? It's taken you so long to accept that not only is your audience fine with mature content, they want it. Why have you suddenly decided to regress back to your family-friendly era? With your shenanigans throughout 2016 thus far, I have lost a great deal of faith in you as a company. If you ever want to regain my trust, burn down your treehouse and give me the equivalent products that you gave to Japan. You might say,
if you're upset about this, take the time that you would have spent writing a really angry letter or message board post to learn Japanese.
There are two things I have to say to that. One, not everyone has the time, resources, and patience to learn an entirely different language, so don't you dare patronize us gamers. And two, Shoubuo Ukete Tatsu. Section 2. Mighty Number 9. The next controversy of this year is Mighty Number 9, which is Kickstarter's most recent horror story. Long story short, the development for the game was plagued with delays, shady business deals, distasteful ads that attack their target audience, and even more delays. When the game was released, the end result is that of rushed garbage. Outdated, unpolished graphics, ending credits that go on longer than the ending of the third Lord of the Rings movie, and the ability to turn Wii U consoles into giant paperweights. Who uses paperweights these days? Having watched Rabbit Luigi's Let's Play of the game, I have to say that the voice acting is weak. Sure, Steve Bloom's voice makes my heart flutter as always, but he's the diamond in the cow pen. It is a major shame that this game is Yuri Lowenthal's weakest performance yet. If I haven't played Mighty Number 9 personally, why am I so worried? With the release of that garbage, there are now questions about quality control and consistency with games funded by Kickstarter. As one of 15,802 backers on Project Phoenix, I am no stranger to delays, the loss of the original lead programmer, and the pushback to a 2018 release. I know there are amazing games that were funded by Kickstarter, Undertale being one of my favorite games of all time, but if things keep going along this trend, I won't care if the final product is better than nothing. I'd rather have nothing and get my money back. Section 3. No Man's Sky is grounded. started. I am very uninformed about No Man's Sky and what it's all about, but from what I understand, it's like the space stage in Spore, but with some improvements from that. The difference is, these improvements are nothing like Spore Galactic Adventures. The main issue with No Man's Sky is, from my understanding of Murder's Rant, the fact that the hype train derailed thanks to a game leak and subsequent release. Personally, I don't think that hype is inherently the problem. It's actually truth in advertising. I've written a comment response on her video, which I will show here, but here's my summary. This isn't the first time that it has happened. When EA and BioWare promoted Mass Effect 3, they relied on games journalism to give the game a positive spin, and they promised a lot of things in the game which they didn't deliver, such as satisfying endings where your choices in the previous two games mattered. When players played the game to the end, it was all about choosing a favorite color. Between how unfavorably Mass Effect 3 was received and a certain consumer revolt which has been going on for about 2 years now, one would think that the developers would be careful about how they marketed their game, or that they'd put in extra care to ensure that the game is, in fact, ambitious. To claim that a game is ambitious when the end result is not will cause people to change their minds about getting the game. Section 4. Deus Ex. Gamers divided. As I'm writing this, Deus Ex Mankind Divided is the hot topic right now. It's the long-awaited sequel to Deus Ex Human Revolution, and along with the controversial ad campaign and extravagant pre-order bonuses, there is naturally a lot of hype for the game. Then, it was discovered that the single-player campaign has microtransactions. Make no mistake, this isn't the first time that Square Enix has pulled this shit. When I played Bravely Default, one of the gimmicks of the game is the ability to use Agnes's crystal shard to stop time in the middle of battle and cause more damage than 9,999 HP. In order to use the crystal shard, you'd have to charge it by letting time pass. I did that by letting the game run on my 3DS, even when I put the 3DS on sleep mode. The other way is with microtransactions, where you can buy potions or liquor or whatever it is that will either reduce the charge time or fully charge the crystal. I've already paid something like $50-something for the full game. Why do I need to pay more? Isn't leaving the game running on sleep mode already enough as a gimmick? So back to Deus Ex. There are people defending these microtransactions. They say that microtransactions are necessary because if Deus Ex Mankind doesn't make enough money, Square Enix might not release another game in the series. What the hell are any of you talking about? First of all, that sounds exactly like blackmail. Secondly, this game is a full-priced retail release. The sales should be enough to drive the profit. My brother pre-ordered the special edition of the game for something like $100. He already spent a great deal of money on the game, so paying more than that is just a great example of Square Enix being needlessly greedy. Incidentally, I don't really know much about the story of the game aside from what I've been told, but microtransactions are contradictory to the themes of Deus Ex as a series. And now for a few things that not too many people talk about when it comes to Deus Ex Mankind Divided. As I said, my brother pre-ordered the special edition of the game, which came with some DLC. The usage of the DLC confused him greatly. There are actually two types of DLC in the game. First, you have consumables, which are single use. Second, you have durables, which can be used again and again on multiple playthroughs. Initially, my brother thought that the pre-order DLC was among the consumables, which meant that such items were, overall, too good to use. When he bought the strategy guide, he found that it is possible to complete each level without using either consumables or durables, which meant that not only he thought that all the DLC was too good to use, but also useless at the same time. It is a frickin' paradox. Once he learned from an online guide that there is a difference between the two types of DLC, he got ticked off yet again because the game itself makes no discernible difference between the two types. It's all just DLC for the game. In a game that allows you to have microtransactions as well as durable DLC, one would think that the developers would help players differentiate between the two with labels saying, "Note, this DLC can be used on multiple playthroughs. And given that New Game Plus is a thing, buying extra Praxis points and whatever is pointless at best because he can carry them over to the next game, leading to an excess of everything. And greedy at worst because Square Enix is trying to milk the players for all they're worth. That is honestly no better than what Konami did with turning their beloved franchises into pachinko machines. Conclusion. 2016 is turning out to be a terrible year for gaming in North America. Sure, there are gems here and there, but between Nintendo being regressive, Kickstarter being questioned as a funding platform, developers not learning from the recent past, and Square Enix being greedy sickos, I have less faith now in how well the rest of the year will be. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe. If you like what I have to say, please like this video and follow me on Twitter. If you have any thoughts you would like to share, please leave a comment below. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.